So there are some things that managers do that they need to stop. More specifically, there are things that new managers do that they need to stop. And that's what this video is all about. Welcome to the channel, Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help new managers become more confident leaders with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. And if you haven't already, you may want to subscribe. That means you should do it now. So let's get into this. What do you need to stop doing right away? As a manager, or specifically as a new manager in a new company, stop assuming that the entire staff hates you. I know it can be nerve-wracking to go into a job and you're like, well, I'm coming in as the new guy. Sometimes you could be actually a lot younger than people and thinking they're just going to hate me. I'm the enemy. Don't make that assumption. It is not fair of you to put your fears on somebody else. Allow them to prove to you whether they like you or they hate you. Don't assume that they hate you. A lot of times what's happening is that you're new, you're walking in and nobody's saying hi. You know why? Because you're the boss and they are hoping and they're expecting that you will have the common decency to approach them. Even though you're the one that's scared. I get it. I've been scared. And you're like, they're looking at me funny. They're waiting for you to go first. They're waiting for you to introduce yourself, to say hi. Not to come in like this big savior, or not to come in like you're coming to knock heads. Coming in and showing you're a decent person. The next thing, and this is almost the opposite, is stop assuming after a promotion that your friends are still your friends. I felt when I was promoted that I knew there was 3, 4, maybe 5 people max that had my back because they were friends outside of work. They understood what my determination was to get to a management position. I didn't have to worry about them. It was the other people that I would casually have coffee with that would gossip about the other managers. Those are the ones that I had to pay attention to. Not necessarily worry about, because in my opinion, if I have to worry what my friends are going to do, they are not my friends. So as you are promoted or you're hired to a company where you have friends, make sure that you know who your friends are. Next, stop fearing and stop avoiding confrontation. What I'm not telling you to do is go into work looking for a battle, looking to just give some suspensions and to write some people up and to yell at some staff. But stop avoiding confrontation. If somebody comes to you with a problem, look at it as it's an opportunity. If they come in heated, understand that it is something that's really bothering them. It's not you bothering them, it's a policy, a situation. Take yourself and the personal aspect out and use a confrontation as an opportunity to get understanding, an opportunity to build a relationship of trust and respect. This fear and confrontation, I get it. You don't want to be yelled at. You don't want to yell at anybody. You don't want to get things, you don't want to say the wrong things to certain people. Stop looking at confrontation as a negative and try to reframe it in your mind as a positive, because confrontation, when handled correctly, and because you're watching videos like this, I know you want to handle it correctly, and the most correctly way to do it is to look at the confrontation as a positive, or at least as a way to take a negative to a positive. Win-win. This one, new manager. When you're new, and I find more so when you're a little bit younger, stop asking for permission. Listen, you were hired to do a job. You were hired because somebody thought you can do the job. Now, if you're talking $1 million, $1 billion deals, yeah, maybe ask them for some permission. Make sure you're on the right track. But the day-to-day business and how things run and how you deal with your team, stop asking for permission. There's a saying, and sometimes sayings are around because they're true. It is easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask permission. You may want to do something and you can see it playing out fantastically in your mind. But when you ask permission, you give somebody the opportunity to say no. You give your boss the opportunity to say, why are you always asking me these things? You don't know what to do, so now I have to babysit you. No, take charge. Don't ask permission. Do what you think works best and move forward from there. Next, stop doing all the work. You are a manager. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming onto your desk that you have to do. But here's the thing. There's this little word called delegation. And if delegation is not a strong point for you, see a link in the description for my course. When something is put on your desk, I need you to understand that you are not responsible for doing all the work. Yes, of course, certain things may come to your desk and it may be you have to do it. But majority of the things, what I want you to understand is you don't have to do it. You have to make sure it gets done. And that's the idea behind delegation. When something comes to you, you disperse it to your team, to the right person at the right time with the right qualifications. This is how delegation works. And delegation single-handedly got me my promotion into a leadership role. So remember, it's your work, but you don't actually have to do it. You have to make sure it gets done. We're talking about a lot of things that you don't have to do or that you need to stop doing. Here's something that you need to start doing. Y'all need to start liking these videos a little bit more. My YouTube page is telling me we need to get some more likes to get some more distribution. So clickety-clack, like it now. Next, and I touched on this a little bit before, but as a manager, stop doubting yourself. Again, you were put in the position, you were hired, you were promoted, you were given the opportunity, you were given the responsibility because somebody else believes that you can do what it is that you have to do. So you need to come in not doubting yourself. And when you worry about employees at the beginning of the video where like don't worry that they all hate you, they're watching you. They're watching to see how confident you are in yourself, in your own answers, and they will feed off of that, good or bad. Don't give people the opportunity to cast doubt on you because you're doubting yourself. You got the job, get it done. Besides doubting yourself, I need you to stop doubting your team. This is hard in some industries, especially when we hire younger people that are perceived to not really care. But stop doubting your team. Assume that they can do the job that they were asked to do. Assume that they are mature enough to handle the situations that they're presented with. When you err on the side of they got this, then it gives you time to find the people that don't have it. Not everybody's mature enough to know that they have a job to do and they need to actually do that job to get a paycheck. And that's where you can come in and start to coach and manage that individual. But you need to start trusting your team. Don't doubt your team. The team is an extension of you. You are an extension of your team. When you doubt them, they're going to doubt you. Next. And you guys are going to hate me on this. Don't assume your team knows everything and can do everything. Now, what I'm not telling you to do is micromanage. What I am telling you to do is make sure that there's an open line of communication. Make sure people understand what it is that you're asking of them, what it is they're responsible for. Don't assume that they know it all because they may not. So always just keep that open line of communication. Again, don't micromanage because that's not going to help you. That's not going to help your team. It's not going to help the company. Can you see all the not going to help? But make sure that you keep lines of communication open. Make sure that you touch base every now and again as you see fit with individuals to make sure that they got what's going on. If you stop doing this list, I don't know, 8 things, is it? 9 things? If you stop doing these things, what you're going to start to do is you're going to grow into your role. You're going to gain confidence because you're not worried about other little things. You're allowing yourself the opportunity to grow. You're not stifling growth by looking after little things that actually don't matter or aren't going to happen or are highly unlikely to be a concern. I hope this makes sense, and I hope you start on the next video. Get your coffee. I'll meet you there.